Hey bookworms, welcome back to my channel and to another review. Today I'll be talking about The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware, and this is actually the third Ruth Ware book that I read and reviewed. The first one was In a Dark Dark Wood, which I didn't like, and the second one was The Death of Mrs. Westaway, which I really liked, so I was very curious to see how I'm going to feel about a third Ruth Ware book. The Turn of the Key's narrator and protagonist is a woman called Rowan who writes to a lawyer from jail. She was a nanny to a rich family and one of the children in her care died. And Rowan claims her innocence in her letter and basically tells her entire story in it, from the moment she saw the advert looking for a nanny to her arrival to the secluded house in the Scottish Highlands, the strange occurrence that happened there that made her think that maybe there is something more going behind the scenes, until the death of one of the children. Now, the first thing that caught my eye was actually the title of the novel, and I was wondering whether this is going to be some sort of a modern retelling of the classic novella The Turn of the Screw by Henry James. Now, if you don't know The Turn of the Screw, it's about a governess that starts believing that the house where she works in might be haunted. And this novella famously ends with one of the children dies, and with the readers not knowing whether the house is really haunted or is the governess merely crazy. So to answer my own question, yes, this novel is indeed based on The Turn of the Screw, but very loosely, so don't expect any actual complete parallels, and I actually liked it that way. I like that all she did was turn this idea into a modern day story. And because I was worried about it, and I know that you will be as well, I will tell you that at the end of The Turn of the Key, we do have all the answers. We know why that child died. We know what went on in this house. And I think this may be one of the modern adaptations that Ruth Ware did, because I think people today do want answers. So I really enjoyed reading The Turn of the Key. It was a page turner, even though it's not a fast-paced thriller. You know, it's about a woman taking care of children. Don't expect any car chases or anything like that, but it was very interesting. It kept you wondering what's going on, but it's also not a gothic horror novel. I think some people might think it was, because The Turn of the Screw was indeed a gothic novel, but it's mysterious, not scary. One of my favorite aspects of this book was the modern adaptation to this haunted house story, which was, in my opinion, done very well in here. First, I found Ron's reactions really realistic. She doesn't automatically think ghosts when strange things start happening. She's skeptic. She's trying to find a reasonable explanation. I like how her mind works, and I felt like I could really identify with her. In addition, as is the trend with these sort of books, Rowan is also potentially an unreliable narrator. Now, I talked about this trend before, I especially talked about it in Behind Her Eyes, where I felt like I was lied to because the first-person narrator kept secrets from me on purpose, even though we allegedly heard their thoughts. But I felt like in this novel it was done a lot better. I really identified with Rowan and how she herself doesn't understand what's going on, and she thinks that she might be going crazy. And it's a good alternative to those kind of novels. Also, because she tells the story to someone else, it would make more sense if Rowan lied, unlike where you just hear the protagonist's own private thoughts. The second thing that I really liked was the physical setting, which is something that I rarely talk about. It takes place in such an interesting place. You see, it's this old, huge house in the middle of the Scottish Highlands, surrounded by beautiful nature. But the inhabitants of the house, you know, the parents of the kids that Rowan takes care of, are rich architects, and one of them is obsessed with technology. He drives a Tesla, for God's sakes. So you'll get this low-tech base, and every now and then you will see the original stone of the house. But then adding to it are these overly modern, in my opinion, and ridiculously high-tech stuff. It's a smart house entirely controlled by a phone app, and the light switches are motion sensitive and the curtains are activated by voice. And it's not just that these two contradicting elements of nature and original low-tech versus technology and high-tech stuff that I like, but it's also how the technology was used very well by Ruth Ware in order to kind of replace or to adapt the ghosts. A voice comes from nowhere. Ghosts or invisible speakers embedded in the walls. Something moves on its own. Supernatural or something technological that made it move. Is there a stranger in a house or just someone controlling household items with the remote app? In classic ghost stories, we have the feeling that we are being watched by invisible entities, but in this novel, we are being watched because the smart house has security cameras everywhere. I just felt it was very clever. But now I do want to mention some things that were, I don't know if they were negative, they were more like not very bad, but isn't very good. Whoa, that was a mouthful. First and foremost, I had an issue with Rowan writing this entire novel-length story as a letter. I realize why she did it. She, Ruth Ware, not Rowan, but there must have been a better way to do it. Not only can you imagine a 300-page letter, but it's written as a novel, that's not very realistic. And Rowan keeps saying that she needs to write every single detail because you need to hear everything in order to really understand what happened. But in truth, you don't, not really. And the way she constructs the scene is obviously meant for the novel reader, not for the letter reader. But, you know, as much as I do realize what the thought behind it and why it was done, I also think that Ruth Ware should have thought a different way to do it, a way that will make things a bit more plausible or realistic. The second thing is not really a negative, maybe it's a nitpick, but something that bugged me, and I'm simply pointing it out to see what you guys will think about it, especially those of you with children, which I don't have. So Rowan is a very experienced nanny. She has a lot of experience just generally taking care of babies and kids, but at the same time, she constantly got very upset and surprised and overwhelmed by pretty much anything that happens with these mostly well-behaved girls. Their naughty behavior is nothing special. So you got a baby throwing food on the floor, or a toddler storming off to her room, shutting the door and shouting, I hate you. Even I know that it's rather normal, right? Like, if you can't handle this, maybe don't be a nanny? I don't know, it just kept bugging me whenever she reacted so surprised by, I don't know, the toddler not being able to eat, without making a mess. And something that I found really funny and ironic is the fact that she was totally ready to handle kids and toddlers and babies, but the fact that there was also a teenager and dogs in the house, that was too much for her. And I was like, sure, give me the dogs, give me all the pets, I can handle them. A moody teenager? Sure, I relate to them, I work well with them, they're adult enough, you don't have to dress them, you don't have to feed them, you don't have to change their diapers. Sure, give me those, but like a baby? Ugh. I don't know, it's a personal thing, but I just found it funny. But let's go back to the point. This was the only thing that really bothered me, mostly, the frame of narrative that didn't really make sense. Not a big deal. I did, however, read online a lot of disappointed reviews, and I'm not sure, but I think that the reason that some people were disappointed was that they thought that they were going to read some sort of fast-paced detective thriller, and it wasn't supposed to be, so therefore they were disappointed. So can we please stop comparing Ruth Ware to Agatha Christie already? I talked about it before, but come on, people, let's make it happen, okay? I also feel that the very ending of the book will divide people between those who really hated the book and those who really loved it. I feel that some people will be somewhat angry at the end revelation and some will be heartbroken, or I suppose you can be both. I think that the problem with these sort of books that they always lead up to this huge twists so you start raising your own expectations, which is always a recipe for disaster. And I will say no more about this topic. In fact, this is where I'm going to end this review. I really enjoyed the turn of the key, and as long as you come in with the right expectation, then I think you're going to like it as well. It's definitely a great alternative to those copy-paste thrillers. The ending might divide some people, but you know, you can't please everyone, and I don't know, I thought it was a great story with a good ending, and I enjoyed it, and I recommend this book. So guys, that's it for my review. Thank you very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, please don't forget to click the like button to show your support, and also subscribe to my channel if you dare, and write down in the comment section what's your favorite adaptation, book or movie, to the classic Turn of the Screw. I am currently watching the series The Haunting of Bly Manor, which I didn't know was actually based on it, and I like it. It's really, really good. Anyway, you guys, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.